साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडलिनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार स्वामिनी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः।
Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. We do apologize for our little delay. Tonight's program is going to be on the Vishuddhi and a little bit on the Agya as well, which is the sixth center here. And we have our presenter tonight. It's Troy. Hello, Troy. Are you there?
I'm here, but I can't open the video, sorry.
Oh, okay.
The host, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
just trying to open my video. It says I cannot open it. Guess the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay.
No, the host hasn't stopped. You should be able to just
Oh, here we
leave.
go.
Oh, there you are.
It's a bit of a mix-up tonight. That's okay. Thank you. Hello, Ariane.
Oh, yes. Good evening. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks. Good.
Oh, that's good. We had a little bit of a bit of a delay, but we are ready now to go, aren't we?
Yes, I hope so. A few technical hitches,
Yes.
but I think we're ready.
Yeah. So Troy, we focusing on the Vishuddhi tonight, aren't we? But also a little bit on the Agya as well. So the fifth center, Vishuddhi here, and then the Agya.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, how that and the relationship between the two, because they seem to relate a lot to each other. Like, yeah, one can cause some effect in the other. So that's what I wanted to sort of talk about as well, a little bit how they coexist together, and how the relationship between the two.
Okay. So if we start with this one, the fifth one, which is the communication center in English, so we have, it's quite a complex center, this one, 16 subplexuses or 16 petals in the yoga sort of a language, but there's so many different aspects to it, isn't it?
Yes, it does a lot of function and a lot of it's very complicated, like you said. It's has a lot of, like, with our hands, our arms, like our throat, our nose, our ears, our eyes. It does a lot of areas from one center.
Yeah, but it's a lot to do with how we relate to others, isn't it, and to ourselves. So communication, and how we can manage to be, once we are going somewhere, we need to communicate, isn't it? And then
Yes,
we also have situations where if we are not able to get the right perspective, then we can swing one way or the other. Like, we call that to be a detached witness, where we not to get caught into situations emotionally, so that we get the right perspective on situations. Otherwise, we may react in different ways that may not be helpful to situations. Yeah.
Yes, true, that we do. It's about our communication, but also other people's, like you said, expression, how we react to other people's situation or things that happen in the outside world. So it's to do within and without, isn't it? It's got the both dual purposes, I guess. What affects the that chakra, yes.
Yeah, and also how we relate to not just like a small group, then families, communities, then a country, and then with other countries. So it's really the bigger picture, isn't it? The cohesiveness and the harmony between all of us, between each country, and the diplomacy. And
yes.
It doesn't always happen. There's kind of a,
yeah.
It's not always smooth sailing, is it?
That's right. Yeah, communication is a tricky thing to communicate effectively, as in, so the other person, like how you express yourself is really a lot on what you get back, isn't it? If you're being like too forceful one way, then can have recuperation come back another, like not a good, like, positive sort of experience for them, for the other party. So it is how you express yourself and your intention, and it is very complicated, like you said. There's lots of things to talk about.
If we were to simplify it, like if we look at the left part of the center, is about more to do with the guilt, isn't it? And that's where you're talking about that relationship with the sixth center, the ego on the left here, isn't it? That it just goes and hides in there. Yeah, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, because that's it. Our ego is controlling our Vishuddhi a lot, or we could allow our ego to express, like it wants to express, doesn't it, the ego? And I think, so we're using the ego, like overly active ego, it can really affect how we communicate. And Shri Mataji will be talking about this subject in the videos in more detail about the ego, but that's the relationship, really, how the two really relate. So if what's in your mind and you're trying to get it out through your mouth, through this Vishuddhi center, it's not so easy sometimes. You get really caught up in, it can be challenging to.
And then the right aspect is about how to be, again, if we are too loud and too domineering, then that will affect the person receiving the message, isn't it?
Yes, well, they could feel that they can trigger their left side, and where they feel guilty or they feel like submissive, that they have to obey. So that's the balance. If one's too extreme, it can cause an imbalance on the other side for the other person to be feeling, that sort of down feeling. The conditionings, you feel like you have to do. You've got no power. The other person dominating has the power of talking loudly, so you feel submissive. You have to follow on what they say, or feel that they take your power away in some ways, don't they? That it feels like, or you're giving them your power by being caught up in what they're saying. So that's the ideal, if we can not be caught up in that, like to be witness and just observe it and just see the real picture, that it's they've got an issue. It's not really our issue so much. It's a really powerful tool.
Yeah, And then in the center, it is about how we become when we are balanced between our left and right, we can then become the detached witness and feeling the oneness with others. When we are approaching it in that way, we then become in harmony with others. Yeah,
that's right. We don't get affected so much with other things around us. You're just centered in yourself, and and I think to do with the Agnya too, like you're forgiving, if you're reacting to the person like it is in your head, like the reaction as well is in your Agnya. Like if you're not forgiving, or if you're feeling this sort of feeling of being guilty or conditionings, like ego and conditionings, that really affects this chakra here as well. So if you can just be clear as well and forgive them and see that, that's not your problem, so to speak. It's something that's happening, but it's not you don't have to get caught in that. And you forgive them for their limitations. That's really freeing, in that you're not actually, you're separated from them a little bit. You're not caught up in that moment of that drama or that whatever that is that's going on that's not comfortable for you, I guess. And it's very challenging, isn't it? In the moment, it's so hard to do. It's not easy. Even yogis practice all this meditation. It's not easy for us. We have to really practice.
Yeah. So what have you got for us tonight, Troy? So how do you want to start?
So we have the videos, like you said, the Shri Mataji talks about the left, to do with the left Vishuddhi and the right Vishuddhi. So we're going to start talking a little bit about the left Vishuddhi, and that's the video that we'll be playing, where Shri Mataji explains that, and she also relates to the ego part of it. So so the left Vishuddhi, a little bit about what you were saying before, is it can be. There's a chakra chart there. I'm not sure if we've got the chakra chart we can show about the left Vishuddhi, if that's available, but on that it's just got like it can get caught up for here we go. Just some of these reasons, like that we get causes of problems of Vishuddhi. So lack of collectivity, lack of wellness, lack of self-respect. So yes, this left side is feeling guilty. There's other reasons: catching cold, smoking, alcohol, swearing, sinus problems, too much talking.
Yeah.
So that's also to do with right Vishuddhi, I guess, talking too much. But the left is mainly about the self-respect and feeling like good in yourself, and also the relationship, isn't it, Ariane? You were saying before, like with the brother and sister relationship, the pure relationship, it really affects this chakra.
Yeah, pure relationship. Yeah. Always about respect and
it's all related to respect, isn't it? Self-respect and respecting others and feeling so that's the left Vishuddhi, and also just with the it has a lot of the functions as well as the Agnya, where it controls, it says here, the neck, the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, the nose. And that's the same as the Agnya, so it's very interrelated. That shows you how related it is with the two chakras, because they can look after a lot of the same area, the mouth and the ears, the inner ears. And also the Muladhara is really related to the Agnya as well. So there's sort of almost like three chakras involved here. And the Muladhara is also the innocence, which relates to the pure relationships and the feeling of self-respect. So there's another relationship involved there with the Muladhara. So everything's all connected, isn't it? It's not like so much separate, there's everything's related.
So shall we start with raising our Kundalini and putting ourselves into a bandhan, Troy?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So if we put the hand and we go up the first knot, then the second time we do 2 knots. 1, 2. And then the third time we do 3 knots. 1, 2, and 3. And then we go all around with the bandhan of protection for the 7 chakras. Yes, 7 times. 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we just go. So over to you, Troy. Just can't wait to the program.
Okay, no worries. Well, I'll see you a bit later on when I talk about.
See you a bit later.
So hopefully, we can play the first video of Shri Mataji if it's on the left, left for Shri, and that's the left that she talks about the Agnya, like I said before. If that's ready to go, that'll be great. Otherwise, yep, we can just close our eyes and listen or watch Shri Mataji.
So the principle of ascent is to be in the center, to be in the balance, to be in the maryadas of the center, to be in the boundaries of the center is the principle. So what happens when we do not keep to the boundaries, to the maryadas? Then we get caught up. If we keep to maryadas, we can never be caught. Many people say, why have the maryadas? Say, we have the maryada, the boundaries of this beautiful ashram here. And somebody is attacking you from all the sides, on all the sides of the void. So if you go out of the void, you get caught. That's why you have to keep to the boundaries. And to keep to the boundaries is difficult when you have two problems. One is the ego, another is the superego. Now, as in the West, superego is not such a problem. Ego is the problem, and it has very, very subtle implications now. I can see the complicated style of egos we have. One is a gross, like Khomeini style, which is dry, it's obvious, evident, everybody can condemn. That one is the one, either one corrects or gets completely destroyed. But ego, if it is of a stupid person, then he behaves in this manner only, that he doesn't know how to hide his ego in sophistication. But the Western ego is extremely sophisticated. The language, everything is very sophisticated. Like in English language, we'll say, I'm afraid I have to slap you. I'm sorry, I have to kill you. It's such a devious thing, you see. Once you said, I'm sorry, that means you have put a chocolate on top of that, isn't it? It's such a camouflage. Must understand. See, we must face as we are. We cannot be facing something else. But this is exactly what happens with sophistication, that we avoid facing ourselves. Today, though the day is of celebration, so in all humor we should understand what this stupid thing called ego is. In all humor, not in seriousness. But I don't want you to again feel guilty. Now, as I was explaining in the morning, how ego becomes the left Vishuddhi. I mean, even before going to the hall, my attention on the hall, I get a big lump, just painful, horrible, excruciating. I mean, all the time it is there since I have been in the West. Can you imagine? It has never vanished. So this chakra is all the time working. Poor thing is so much now tired. Vishnu Maya's chakra. So what happens really, we should see the physical side of it. It's very important to understand. You see, from childhood, if you are taught in a society like this, where you are an extrovert, you have to achieve something, some success or this and that, then the idea of strength is given to you. That it is weakness to tolerate something. Imagine in Christian nations, that's the best part of it. I am sorry, I will kill you sort of thing. In Christian nation, you see, they have this theory, that it is weakness, that if you tolerate anything, it is a weakness if you get dominated by someone. You can never be successful if you do like that. So unless and until you are possessed, you can never be obedient. This is what it is. Somebody has to possess you, absolutely possess you, like Hitler. Then you can be obedient. Otherwise, everybody has a big ego, as I had told you the story of the garbage cleaner. So everybody has a very, very big ego. Everybody wants to have their own way. And from childhood, you spoil your children too much. You spoil them, completely spoil them. All the time, you'll hug them, you'll hold them, you'll do too much. Children get spoiled. Think knowing of themselves, and then on top of that, if you tell them that you should not tolerate anything, they become disobedient. So you do not know how to obey others in any way. Ego does not know how to obey, because that is weakness. Obedience is weakness. So now, this poor thing, ego, has a limited thing. That is, this ego has a balloon which is limited. But it bursts when you get your paralysis and all those things. It does burst. But it is flexible also. So when the ego starts getting too much on top of the superego, then the superego can go up to a point. It is also there. So to get rid of the ego, people take drinks, drugs, just to push it back. So increase the ego, increase the superego. So the ego comes down. So you are playing between, then you have a hangover. Then it goes on like this, you see, works on. This is the modern solution they find for ego. All right. Otherwise, ego is too much. So when somebody says something to you, instead of facing up to it, supposing you find you have not been able to say, find a glass for me, a simple thing, like take it. You sulk. Why? Why should you sulk for that? Because there's another place where the superego, ego can go, is when you come round. You see, here it crosses at Vishuddhi. So when it is suppressed from the other side, it goes into that Vishuddhi. So then you get the left Vishuddhi. It is nothing but pure ego, believe me, it's pure ego. Because it has no other way to get in, it goes there. And that's how you sulk and think. Think, so you get more ego, you fill up your left side and you sulk. You never face. Now, the practical way, a central path, is established by being in reality. Now, as a matter of habit, you must develop. Supposing something has gone wrong, tell yourself, yes, it has gone wrong because I have done the mistake. All right, why did I do the mistake? Because of this, so next time no.
Just close our eyes and meditate for a little bit, a few minutes, and we just have our attention on the left Vishuddhi. You can put your hand on the left Vishuddhi, and you can say, "Just Mother, I am not guilty at all." Mother, I am not guilty at all. Put your hand onto your forehead, onto the back of your head, back Agnya. This is for the left side. Say, Mother, please forgive me for any mistakes I've made against my spirit. Mother, please forgive me for any mistakes I've made against my spirit. So just bring your awareness to the top of your head, and we're just going to play a little bit of a short piece of Mozart music, just to help us to meditate and just be thoughtless. He was a realized soul, and it helps our center channel. And it's a flute, which is also Sri Krishna's instrument for the Vishuddhi chakra. So we'll just listen to this music and try to be in thoughtless awareness. So while we're in meditation, we've got another short clip about the right Vishuddhi from Shri Mataji. And you can talk about, she talks about like being sweet, talking sweetly. It's good, it affects our relationships with people, how we communicate with them. So speaking sweetly, speaking kindly, gently, it's a good quality for the right Vishuddhi. It helps the right Vishuddhi to be balanced. So if we can play that talk about Shri Mataji, how she explains it on the right Vishuddhi, and the remedy is silence. So afterwards we'll have a bit of a silent meditation, and have a little bit of music as well. But so we'll just listen to Shri Mataji's talk.
Now, when we have our Vishuddhi problems, we have to know what are the deities on both the sides and what were their qualities which are lacking in us. That's why we are suffering. Let's see the right side, Vishuddhi, when we catch. Shri Krishna's essence is sweetness, madhurya. Madhurya. And his power was Radha. Ra is energy, Dham is the one who has sustained the energy. And her power was, she was called as Ahlad. Ahlad means joy-giving qualities she had. So Shri Krishna's qualities were that he was Yogeshwara, so he was the witness, and sweetness. Now a person who shouts and screams and talks loudly and loses his temper in a very loud voice, or who speaks very loudly all the time, they all suffer from the right Vishuddhi. So one should understand that even when you have to scold somebody, you have to just say, what are you doing? Why are you doing like this? Otherwise, why did you, oh, like this, finished, right Vishuddhi, over, it's finished now. So for the right Vishuddhi, we use the mantra of Vithala and Rakhumai, these two persons. You see, it is very significant, that also. Because they say that there was a Pundarikaksh, one boy, who was serving his parents. And his parents were sleeping, he was pressing their feet. When Vithala and his power, Rakhumai, Rukmini, they appeared in the door. But he said, now keep quiet, my parents are sleeping, so you stay there. So he had one brick near him which he threw and asked them, you stay on that. So they kept quiet. They kept quiet because they are sleepy. Now this is the thing. On the right side, if you are talking loudly, if you talk too much, if you intimidate people with your talking, then you catch on right Vishuddhi. So for that, best is to take some rest and give some rest to your right Vishuddhi by stopping your talk. Go into mauna, they said, just don't talk. For some time if you don't talk, you will see that your Vishuddhi will be improved, your problems will be improved. So as it is the right side, what happens is that the heat starts coming from the stomach. It's all in one play. We can say not from the stomach, but actually from the liver. The heat starts rising. It first goes into the right heart. As a result, you might become a very hot-tempered husband or a father or something. You might get asthma, anything with that right heart. Then it passes on to your right Vishuddhi. When it goes to your right Vishuddhi, then you become a very irritable, hot-tempered person. All the time you shout at someone. Nobody can talk to you. If somebody has to talk to you, he has to use a barge pole in between. God knows what time he'll shout at you. Or maybe I've seen many women lose their hearing or men lose their hearing when there's somebody who is shouting at them. So shouting is a very bad thing for others and also for yourself. Because of course your Vishuddhi goes out, after some time your voice goes out, after some time you cannot talk, and sometimes they have to just keep quiet. But for others it's even worse, because if you use your anger in that manner, then that person might be just frightened of you, might develop inferiority complex, might become a left-sided person, might catch some boots. God knows what can happen to a person who has somebody all the time shouting at him. But the worst physical thing could be that he can become deaf. So, from Sri Krishna's life, one has to learn that how he would just play his flute, and the whole atmosphere used to become absolutely quiet, without any ripple of any trouble, any idea of disturbance, just peaceful. But in modern times, the other way now. They have the music where the right Vishuddhi is about to break or burst, I don't know what sort of music it is. When they listen to this music, see, then it excites. Then it excites you. It doesn't make you peaceful. It excites you more and more. But as Sri Krishna becomes Virata, your limbic area also gets numbed with it. And when this shouting music is too much, then they have to use loudspeakers and shout much more. Then they have to put something near the ear to hear something. Otherwise, they have no excitement. All the exciting, we can say, all the exciting cells become numbed. And you have to really go in for tremendous effort to create that excitement in those numbed cells. So it's very dangerous throughout. If you see that it starts from the liver, goes to the right heart, then to Vishuddhi, and then in the brain. So then you take to drugs, because your brain is numbed out. So you take to drugs, and when you take to drugs, then you feel that you are all right. Then again, you feel that this drug is not sufficient, then you take stronger drugs, then you take more drugs. It goes on one after another. Ultimately, it reaches a stage when you are nowhere. So it is all self-destructive.
We'll just meditate silently now. Have your awareness on our Vishuddhi. Listen to some nice flute music. There's the Kundalini, Prana Bandhan. Ariane, still here? Come on.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Hope you enjoyed that meditation with the music.
Yeah, it was very, very beautiful. Beautiful music.
Nice to be silent too, wasn't it? Not to speak, like Shri Mataji said, not to speak at all. It's very nice to have the opportunity.
Absolutely. And the flute music is very good for the visually. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, it's because of the okay. Yeah, it just works on the soothing, the visually, the flute music. Yeah.
It feels like a tube, the hollow tube, you know, it feels like, to me, it's like it opens up with the Vishuddhi, so it's just a hollow tube where the Kundalini can come through a lot easier. Yeah. Like the flute, when we play the flute, it just plays through, the Kundalini comes through a lot easier with the flute.
Yeah, it was very, very soothing, very calming, very nice. Thank you for tackling this topic.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tricky one for us, but hopefully it went all right for everyone. Enjoyed the meditation.
Yeah, certainly did. Yeah.
And the flute also, with Shri Mataji, talk about that Shri Krishna, how everything is just around, is just peaceful when Shri Krishna plays the flute. That was very beautiful how she said that about the whole atmosphere becoming calm and no problems. Everyone was peaceful, and it feels, I could just imagine how beautiful that would. Yeah, the scenery, the setting the scene with the flute. It spreads all through the ether, like the Vishuddhi chakra. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Also, this center is represented by America, and these musicians were brothers from the US. They live in the US. Yeah.
Oh, great! You've got another song, haven't you, from the American song?
Yes, also from the US. So this song was written many, many years ago. In 1986, actually, there was in Germany, when there was one person who got the self-realization, there was no one else, and he felt very lonely. So he wrote this song. It's called "Pass It On," and because he wanted to have other people getting their self-realization. So with this pure desire, there are now about over 500 people meditating in Germany, and so many had their realization, but established people meditating is over 500. So he and all over Europe and other countries in America and Australia and every other place in Asia and Africa. So it's all over the world. 86 countries now people are meditating and got their realization. Millions.
That's the power of pure desire, doesn't it? The pure desire really worked.
Of course, India is the mother of the Kundalini.
Yes. China's going strong, or Asia, you know, China, and there's a lot of all those Asian countries as well. It's taking off. It's good.
And the song it was a seminar, and people from all over America came together and they sang this song. So there were people from all over America who sang this song. But it's also a song that's popular here, and it went all over the world. But it was the desire of one person all those years ago, who he wanted to pass it on, and he describes it like nature, like spring is coming, and you want to pass it on. It's like the birds are singing and the flowers are blooming, and that this is what happens when you get your self-realization, is that it's your blossom time for you as a human being, as well as nature in spring. It's like a renaissance. It's like you are born again in the
it's nice to
beautifully described.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and to share it with other people, it comes back to you, doesn't it? So you feel enjoyed even more when there's other people.
You get a lot of joy.
The collective, collectivity. It's really nice. Oh, beautiful. Well, thanks. Hope the program people enjoyed it, and
Thank you, Troy, for presenting the topic tonight.
Thank you. Enjoy. Have a good night, and everyone else enjoy your night.
And we see you again.
Okay. And listen to the music. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It all
What do you do, Abby?